Hello, Jen. How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you. And thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to be here on the Healing Lounge.
Thank you for inviting me. I feel so blessed to be here.
I'm really excited about the work that you're doing, and I would love to share that a little bit more with the audience out there. So, yes, Jen, feel free. This is your story time. Let's go ahead and learn a little bit about you. Jen, where did your journey begin?
So, my journey actually began when I was quite young. I was really into plants. Say that's about where it started. I really worked hard to be outside. So, um, yeah, it was quite the infatuation for myself to really get to know our planet and see what is out there that we can use to heal ourselves. And coming from a state where we can grow a whole lot of stuff outside, it was very interesting to me to just learn what these plants do. We're told they're weeds, and some of them they fight cancer like dandelions. So it really perked my interest to find out more about our beautiful Mother Earth.
That's amazing. When did you experience anything in your young life where you introduced plant medicine or any kind of plants into your therapy or your any like holistic treatment?
So, when I was younger, my little bit on that ADHD spectrum, but didn't understand it.
Mm,
Didn't know I had it. And somebody in my life who was very close to me was like, "Here, I think this plant is going to help you." And she guided me through the process. And we started with tea, and it was cannabis. And so I was quite young because in my family we believe that plants are medicine. And so my grandma really like opened up that portal for me to really explore with plants. It was nothing like, oh, we're getting high. It was that exploration of how is this going to help and how can we make your life a little bit easier for you to work with. I throughout the years of like my teenage stuff, I really got my exploration in. It was cannabis my main go to for the longest time, and then I just hanging out with the friends I had was like, well, I'm really like wanting to experience this too. Like I see you guys and I want to feel this space. And so I started delving into that realm. It was really a good experience. I couldn't explain it too well. Like just getting into that space was one of those like oopsies, but a good oopsies. And it grew from there. I had friends who were so much more into plants than I was that were showing me how to get in touch with them. And it was so mind blowing and mind boggling that I couldn't stop learning. I just wanted to keep learning. I just found that to be one of the biggest insights I've had is just get get the knowledge and go from there, because without the knowledge then we're all just kind of learning, by ourselves, and that's not really that much fun. I mean, it can be, don't get me wrong. We need that self exploration as well. We definitely do. It's just when we're getting in touch with like the universe telling us like, hey, there's other people are usually involved, and
yes.
from there it's just grown, continued to grow.
That's amazing. I feel you on that with the self-exploration and making that communication with with nature in that way, right? Making that building that relationship and creating that flow. Um, Back then we didn't really have a lot of, information out there on plants, especially cannabis. How what kind of research did you do on cannabis during that time?
So when I was first beginning with like cannabis, it was all word of mouth, like in a state where it's zero tolerance, it's kind of like, don't talk about it loud. And it sparked the fire in me where it's just like, it's a plant. And, like I said, in my family, we believe that plants are medicine. And can't, I can't believe it took me so long to really like start learning more about what we don't know, basically. I tried to do research on cannabis for a while afterwards, where it gives you that basic, it's gonna help you lose your memory faster. It's like the DARE program was what we had for information in the beginning when I was younger. So I was like, I'm not gonna listen to that. Like, I heard the DARE speech too, where I mean,
Same.
like, advocate, yeah, keep kids off drugs, definitely, but plant medicine is in a completely different space for me. And so later in life, it was more of those, like, what did I find out for myself? And now that there's a whole bunch of research being done on it, because it's recreational in quite a few states, I love seeing all this information come out where it's just like, oh, you remember that thing? Don't listen to that thing. We found out where the propaganda came from. And it just, yeah, I find it intriguing now to see where we've come and gotten to. And with everything else, we're in this space of everybody's now finding out. And it's really cool, to see a lot more people intrigued with the plant medicine space. It really is. I love seeing people find a clarity with a plant or a relationship with a plant, and all of them, that come about to me they're genuinely special because we didn't really get to do this before. And we did, but it was in this like, like, don't tell nobody. I have the on my finger for a reason, where it's just like, you know, um, it makes me really happy to see where we're getting to in this time right now, because there wasn't a whole lot for research, and information came from our friends, which may not have always been the brightest, but all the same, we were getting those experiences and lessons. And so it's really like fun to see like all these stories coming out about all of us being younger and being like, hey, you want to like talk about this now?
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's
yeah.
really interesting to see where the research has gone compared to when when I was growing up, younger, we I was subjected to a lot of this that propaganda that you were speaking of it's not good for you, it's gonna cause this, it's gonna cause that. It's like, wow, like all of that money spent on on
A
trying
lie.
to get people away from something that could definitely help and benefit them is just mind blowing. I'm like, wow. And now they're coming out with research after research. I feel like almost every day of all these new things that, cannabis and other plant medicine can actually help with. It's such a beautiful thing to see. It's Mother Nature showing up in our lives in a whole different way and allowing us to explore more of our true nature and more of our history.
Excuse
um
me. Absolutely. Like it
yeah.
really, it's changed everything. It has, like, I want to say 16 years ago now. Yeah, 16 years, when I was first starting to explore the other parts of plant medicine. It's just, like I said, it was that hush hush. Like, we have to, and right, I get it's still like in this like teeter totter area where it's like, hey, look at all this, but this is still here. But look at all this, like, but this is still here. And so
Yes.
when we get to break through that ceiling, like, I'm really looking forward to that day because that ceiling is like, to me, it's like right there. We're right there. As soon as, we get more people just talking about it, even creates a safe space for people to ask questions. Like, and they want to have this information. They want to get educated on what they can do to avoid going through a path of pharmaceutical trials. We already know that the pharmaceutical industry is a for-profit industry. And so while we have to work with this space, there's so many people who are like, can we get a better system that, I don't know, maybe we can handle ourselves? And that's, to me, like a big, huge part of this is everybody just talking about it, like them conversations open up so many doors for us to spark that fire and get going, having these talks between everybody so we can get into this space of what can we do to make this happen. Like, that is, I think, the most exciting part is seeing everybody become interested in making it happen.
I love it. It's definitely necessary and needed. Many people can benefit from it, and I feel like it could prevent a lot of issues and conditions in people, and I feel like it could eliminate the need for unnecessary chemical-based, petroleum-based medications that are out there just being pushed. And I feel like there's more to explore in nature, and because we are natural. We are natural.
Right,
I feel like biologicals, yes, we're biological beings, and I feel like biological substances, supplements can actually help us a little bit more than, what the chemical and the petroleum base. I feel that.
Oh, absolutely. Like we are a branch of nature herself. And so, evolutionary wise, right, we've come a long ways. And unfortunately, I think more or less lately, we just have a disconnect from her where we are, we're wearing shoes, there's constant EMFs or electromagnetic frequencies flying around us all the time, where it's chaotic in the sense that we don't have that connection. Like, I remember being a kid and just, playing in the dirt was so much fun. And it'll say like dirt now, when I go to touch the dirt, it just feels like it's missing something, like that love from us humans that it used to get. We used to take care of her quite a bit more than we do now with our pesticides and fertilizers and these other chemicals that are pretty much unnecessary in every sense that I see. I mean, like I get pests happen and bugs happen, but there's natural ways to deter these occurrences that happen with nature. We have models out there of big farms where they don't use pesticides at all. And they seem to do quite well with their biodiversity and their planting, which is one of our biggest keys. We need a
Yes.
biodiverse ecosystem, right? And we're all different. So since everybody is different, we're finding them ways to connect, but we've lost so much like connection that we are just in this disconnect area where finding the path back is kind of right where we're at.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just a little bit earlier, about especially, how frequencies hit us, and say like music, it can be a science, where take a conch shell, the way the conch shell is formed inside is actually a scientifical, like, or scientific, it's a scientific math that happens within nature. And if we look at nature, she's got just so many beautiful equations out here for us to just enjoy. She's like, here, look at this beauty. Like the leaves, grass, trees, all of it. Yeah, we work together, and when we have that disconnection, we can't really work together. And so just finding that space, I feel, is eye-opening to people, like, oh, I am that disconnected. Like, I should probably go outside and smell the air, but don't breathe in too hard, depending on where you live. So
Yeah. Definitely. When it
and
comes to exploring more connection to nature, there's so many things that we can do just literally in our backyard.
yes, absolutely. I right, I have a garden where I've had way more access to cherry tomatoes than I would like to admit.
Well, you can send
Uh,
them my way.
I will definitely have to send you some, get them all taken care of. I was planning on making a salsa, and so
Oh
just
yeah.
even tasting it though, where I don't use pesticides and it's not grown for its looks and it's not like a commercial thing, you taste the difference. Yes, you taste the difference. It's such a beautiful like flavor when you can taste the fruit that you're eating or the vegetable that you're eating and not have it taste like it was picked too early or sped up in its process thanks to some gases. Like, just or even just transferring it, all the energy we save on the transfer. I advocate for vertical gardens in a lot
Mm,
of spaces, and I'm trying to work really hard with the farmers out here on more biodiversity on the farms. It's seeing, thousands of acres of corn and soybeans kills me. And driving by the lots that they feed also really hurts my soul.
mm.
We got this we got this system, to be honest, just ass backwards, and I really look forward to seeing it change with people who are interested in making it change because it is necessary. If we keep going at this rate, we're going to destroy our planet and then we're not going to be able to grow anything, which I don't know if any human lives, but I think we all need to eat and survive. So at some point in time, we do have to take the initiative back into our own hands where we know what we're growing, we know what we're eating, we know what just that consumption is that we're taking in. And when I look at it from my experiences, I grew up in an area where right, there's fertilizer and pesticides sprayed every summer. It's inevitable at this point, but talking to them about how we can change it. I mean, I know not everybody's gonna jump at it at first, but having a model for them to recreate or just use the wheel per se, it guides them into that empowerment of doing it and it encourages them to do it just little bits at a time. Yes, just chipping away at that.
That's great that you're doing that there locally where you're at. And yeah, on that note, I would love to talk about your work and the change you are creating with Decrim Nevada and soon to be South Dakota. Yeah, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so Decriminalize Nature Nevada was an organization that I asked for from the universe. I was like, to be honest, like when I moved to Las Vegas, it was such a different environment for me. Everything is so fast and it was so big that it was like, what is out here that I can find people who are like-minded and where I can make a change. And out of nowhere, there was a meetup post for Decriminalize Nature Nevada, and I was so just excited. I could not believe that this just popped up into my algorithm. I was taken back by it, and so I started following it from there. I started joining the meetup groups and things like this where we just kept growing for a little while there and we had a solid team for about 3 years and we really pushed for that change. The first part of it is educating people and just getting that word out there like, hey, we exist, and finding people who are also trying to do the same thing gosh, it just melted my heart. And from there, I got to know the co-founders of the national organization Decriminalize Nature, where some amazing people have come together to make these changes happen. And just seeing their progress has been, oh my gosh, it's just, I can't even put it in words because the feeling is, it's just so overflowing that I can't help but just like smile about it. I don't know how to put it into words. We have these plants that are deemed illegal thanks to somebody who had no insight for the actual community, in my eyes, within that type of industry. Like plants are plants. That's how they saw that instead of like plants are medicine, like a whole lot of people saw it. And when they took that access away, it just kind of, it shut down the business for a lot of people for a good long time. And, seeing the documentaries that come out, say with like the people who had to take a break from their practices when they were doing these trials back towards the 60s and right up until they were like, it's 1970 and the Controlled Substances Act is an act. It's like, ugh. All the plethora of information got shut down. And boy, just seeing Decriminalize Nature, the national organization, take a rein on it and be like, this isn't normal. There's no reason we should be having plants be illegal. Like, if we can grow tomatoes, why can't we grow something else? We have all these different varieties of tomatoes that everybody's got access to growing. However, we don't see everybody growing their own tomatoes. And so it's like, how do you really define what makes a plant legal? It's confusing to me, but seeing them and working with them for years and right, spearheading with the team down in Nevada, it really just opened up them doors where it's like these things are possible and just keep doing it. Like, talk about it, get the words out there, help others find this space so they feel comfortable. I can't say enough how grateful I am for everybody who has contributed into this space. There's so many people who contribute to this space that it's just so beautiful. Like seeing everybody work together, come together, see how we can create access for people to heal and not be criminalized for it. Because gosh forbid we eat a plant, depending on which one you're taking or using.
So what are that was amazing. What are some wins that you were able to experience with the organization? You want to talk a little bit about those?
Absolutely. So, wins for the organization is we were implemented on SB 242 in Nevada. And so, what that would have done is decriminalize possession up to 4 ounces of dry weight mushrooms for adults 18 and older. And they had a plus of MDMA in there, which was the original like part of it, but we were able to collaborate with people and get decriminalization onto the bill. While we didn't get a full win, they're doing a working group right now in Nevada, and so they've had 3 meetings at least right now. And people are more than welcome to go check out these meetings. You find them on nellis.gov, where we are able to see what the working group is concluding at this point with 3 meetings in this year. I will say I would have liked to have seen a lot more meetings. And although I was passed up on my position in the working group, I'm still very grateful for everybody who is working in the working group. And so it's been quite a journey with it where I'm just like, amend it for the people to have decriminalization and let's go from there. Because at this point, if we want to do research and we want people to, if we want to talk about that reality of access, well, the scientists don't need to be criminalized either for having their plants in their studies per se. While it's still decriminalized in some places, federally it's still illegal. That barrier, that research is like they get it for research, but how far does that go? Right. And so that's kind of where I'm like, we had a major win with it. Like we got in there, we got the thing on the bill. And so it's just seeing where it goes from there. I would love to see Nevadans have access to plant medicine in a broader spectrum than psilocybin alone. And psilocin is what they put in the bill. And so mushrooms, I would like to have them see more access to more plants than just mushrooms. And I know it's baby steps right now. So it's right, it's creating that space where it's more welcomed because I mean, everybody knows what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but at this point we're at a position where this is happening in other places and they're talking really loud about it. So what are we going to do? Like,
Yes.
do we want to be on the progressive forefront or do we want to be on the back burner and then pedal in like, hey, glad they got all this figured out, and to me, like having people doing the research and people who have done this for thousands of years in their ancestral like lineage, I would like to see everybody work together. We all have experience from different paths in life, but one and all, I believe we want to see everybody have that better access. That's about where that sits for me. I know that we're all trying really hard to heal ourselves. Just how can we do it together? I think
Mm.
is that bigger push. And yes, forefronting in South Dakota, boy, it's a lot like Nevada, where there's all these fun rules. Call them fun because I don't want to like tangent on them. They got all these regulations and everything like that where we're learning as we go. And so some of it's like Nevada where they got obstacles we got to go over, like the Dillon law and or Dillon rule. And it just, finding where we can possibly create access has been my biggest project right now. Like for South
Mm.
Dakota, a lot of what I did in Nevada has helped me reflect for South Dakota. And so I'm just very grateful. I have as much experience as I do. Might not be a whole lot, but it is one and the same.
That's incredible. With anyone watching who's interested in learning more about this organization or supporting, what should they do if they're interested to learn more or to support? Or do you have a volunteer program? How does that work?
Yeah, so right now we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook. It's Decriminalize Nature Nevada for our local branch in Nevada. Our head organization is Decriminalize Nature. So if you're not in Nevada or South Dakota, they have a map where you can find out which team is closest to you and finding, your team or creating your team is sometimes about the way to go about it. Just finding them little things first. Our Decrim Nature NV is our website, and so you can go there to donate or support us getting some of our fancy merch as we continue to move in this space. It's been a little bit slower this year with everybody working so hard on everything, and now we're catching up with some of these other things we're doing right now, but nonetheless, like, we want to make sure if people want to volunteer that we have them using their strengths. Like, let us know where you think that you would best fit in this so we can implement you into the volunteer group, because we're all volunteers and this is solely for the purpose of the greater community, where we can definitely do some major changes with the donations, where we can host events and we can continue to get the word out there. And so it is important to us that people, donate, but it's more important to us that they get into like this space, because while donations are nice, if we don't have the people, the movement can be a little bit slower. So
Yes, everyone, come together, support.
yeah, but yeah, Decrimination is the main way to find us on our handles, or decriminationNV.org is our website.
That's incredible, Jen. Thank you so much. And keep up the great work. I love what you're doing. I love what you have done. Your organization is an organization that I support, and I will do whatever I can to support your venture on all of this, because it's very important, like you mentioned before, to have access, safe access to not only plant medicine but other natural medicines that are out there and available for us. And it's really important to not only get the education, but also get the people together to create the change that we want to see in the world.
Yes.
Yes, and I will definitely be leaving the links below so everyone has access to check you out on your website, your social media, and yes, everyone, let's together and support. Yes. So thank you again, Jen, for everything, for taking the time, and much love to you. And definitely keep up the great work. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And thank you. The support is the biggest part of this movement. Like, we could be doing this all day, but without the support of the community, it would kind of be like, what are we doing this for? And so really that support of the community is our biggest drive. So thank you.
Yes. So really quick, we have another brief story to share with everyone. Jen, the floor is yours.
Yes, and so we actually also spoke at the Psychedelic convention in Las Vegas this year, which was absolutely phenomenal. We had Larry Norris from Decriminalize Nature National come join us, along with his wonderful colleague Advocacy and myself, and we did a presentation on decriminalization versus legalization and what it means for the community down at the Psychedelic convention. And so I just wanted to make sure to be like, that was one of our major accomplishments, was getting into the Psychedelic convention and being able to talk about it. It went right.
Yes,
But
that's a
I think
huge
I was
one.
just so overjoyed at that point. It was over one of them things where I was beyond ecstatic to be able to have the presentation we were able to put up at Psychedelic convention. While we were in the space of communication, like, it was one of them big hits we were able to accomplish, where it's like, hey, yeah, this is a great accomplishment. And so yeah, I wanted to make sure to toss that in there.
That's amazing.
And
Thank
you,
you. Thank you, Jen. Yeah,
yeah,
this is great. I'm pretty sure, well, I know that there's going to be more wins,
yeah,
coming soon for everyone, and this amazing organization, and for you personally as well. So thank you so much. And I'm definitely looking forward to our next conversation where we talk about some more wins.
absolutely. I'm so excited.
Thank you. Thank you again, Jen, for all your time, and thank you for doing what you're doing.
And again, thank you so much. Like, it does. It means a heck of a lot to be able to share. And so we really appreciate being invited on. Thank you.
Yes, we're all in this together.
Yes, very much so. A lot more than we should realize right now. A lot more than we realize right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're all in this together. That's for sure.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. And definitely check out the links below for some more information on Decrim Nature Nevada and coming soon, South Dakota. Yes.